I think the way I feel about politics is
necessary evil.
I feel strongly about politics.
How do I feel?
You know, the young people, they're looking for a correct government to lead them into a stable future.
I feel like there's no politics for my generation.
Because I've come from Zimbabwe, so a very political country.
I hate it and love it at the same time.
So have a deep inherent relationship with politics, definitely.
Politics are supposed to concern the people in this society. What they are instead is a business.
I'm not sure it has very much relevance to me or my life.
So I see politics as completely corrupt and completely far away from its democratic beginnings.
How are people like me supposed to get involved in it? We don't feel like there's anything in it for us. The Tories are only interested if you've got a whole ton of money and if you're old. Labour, I mean, I think we're all probably going to vote Labour, but none of us have faith in Ed Miliband. He's not a leader.
Why do I think so many young people are disengaged with politics? Is because politics is not engaged with them.
They just feel like politics isn't for me and politicians don't give a shit about me, honestly.
Whatever the politicians say does not affect us in any way, shape or form.
Cultures are very different just because of the internet and how we do things, like how the world is now is so different. So these guys that are there now, they don't relate to that as much as, you get what I mean, we do. We see the world completely differently.
The politicians seem to be living on another planet.
It's sort of the old boys club, isn't it? The last old boys club.
I guess in the good old days, Labour was for the working classes, Conservatives were for the landed gentry or whatever in the extreme version, but I think it's probably a bit of a different picture nowadays.
It's all about sort of who's willing to scratch each other's backs, and quite frankly, I think a lot of us aren't willing to lose our integrity just to join a party that has policies and beliefs that are just far too old for this time.
Do I think politicians are interested in my views?
They should be, man, because we're the future. That we're the ones that are going to be paying taxes and stuff like that tomorrow. So, you know, if you know what's good for you as a party, and then you should.
I think politicians are not interested in my views whatsoever.
I think politicians are broadly interested in things that are going to get them elected.
They care about the banks and the money.
I do think politicians are interested in our views. I think they have to be.
They're just in their little bubble.
I'm not quite sure how the mechanism by which I get my views across.
And how much money they make and how much money they spend, that's all they care about, to be honest.
I think a bunch of old white men sitting in Westminster do not want people my age coming up to them being like, this isn't good enough.
It's difficult for them, like they don't know how to connect with us because we're so different.
They're interested in commodifying my views and understanding how they can be controlled.
I think they're interested in how to get our votes. That doesn't mean they're interested in our views.
Young people, in my opinion, don't trust politicians because...
What do we have to trust?
Politicians only care about their self-interest and the party they're representing. They don't care about the people in London.
The last party that promised us anything bailed out. Nick Clegg has a lot to answer for.
The university thing is a massive thing.
I think the Lib Dems promising that tuition fees will never go up, and then a year later they go up to £9,000. It's total crap.
Because it was a coalition, they couldn't deliver on all of their manifesto promises, so people saw that as them being let down.
No one can trust Labour after Tony Blair, especially as he walks around as a known war criminal.
The government at the moment doesn't work for the people. There's no reason to trust the government because they've shown time and time again they care about money, really, and their rich friends and staying in power. And I know that sounds like a stupid conspiracy theory, but I think that's a general dialogue that I hear.
How will I be voting on May the 7th?
Honestly, I don't know.
I would have liked to vote, but I missed the final, the sign-up date.
I will not actually be voting on May the 7th.
Maybe Green Party.
I would vote for Greens, but the electoral system means that they're not going to get in power and they're not going to lead the country.
I don't know, honestly.
I think I'm going to vote Liberal Democrat.
I don't feel like there's anyone that I trust. I don't feel like there's anyone that represents the way I think.
I actually quite admire Nick Clegg. I think he's relatively straightforward in his answers compared to a lot of politicians.
You have to vote to keep out people that you don't think are good for your community or country.
I just want to get rid of the Tories, really, and I think that the best way to do that is to vote Labour.
I think I'll probably end up voting Labour, and I think I'll probably be quite angry that that is the only party available for me. Really?
Yeah, the highest of all politicians.
Really?
I think Boris Johnson is popular among young people because
I think he's popular because he introduced the bikes on the streets.
he is charismatic.
Has a weird sex life that people know about.
He's entertaining. He's a very entertaining person.
Bit silly, wacky, uses crazy language.
He is a demagogue, but I think his attitudes of not realistically caring, throwing caution to the wind, these things really appeal to people.
Some of the things he says are ridiculous, but I think they're honestly held opinions.
He's really easy to make memes out of. Ed Miliband.
He's smarter than he looks. He's not really as dopey as he seems,
Ed Miliband is a socialist.
but I think he has a couple ideas that are interesting.
Wallace and Gromit figure.
He's just not a good leader. He completely detracts from the Labour's policies.
I think mansion tax, I think means testing winter fuel allowance.
Interesting, funny.
Misunderstood hero.
I don't know who that is, Nicola Sturgeon.
Strong leader who will do a lot of good for Scotland and the UK.
She's the most dangerous politician, I think. She's the one to be watching.
I mean, she's not standing in this election, though, which seems to be broadly ignored by the population.
Being Scottish, I can just see that she's the puppet on Salmon's chubby fingers.
I do not know Nicholas Sturgeon at all. I have never heard his name.
David Cameron.
He's clever, isn't he? He's very clever.
I think Bullingdon Club. I think Eton. I think Oxford. I think privilege. I think total disconnect with reality.
In terms of our government over the last 4 years, he's probably done a pretty good job under the circumstances.
No, all I know is that taxes have gone up and I can't find anywhere to live.
I think David Cameron is a joker.
David Cameron is a thief.
He's just another man wearing a suit talking a load of rubbish.
I don't like him. I don't like. Obviously, he's a human, and much love to him and peace to him. But no, I don't connect with him as a person at all.
People hating, selfish, snotty, stuck-up pile of Natalie Bennett.
That's Greens, yes. Yeah, I haven't seen the debate and stuff like that, but her name sounds good. It's got good energy.
Admirable, but not so good as a politician.
I think she has a great number of ideas that she brings to the table and pushes things into the public debates.
She seems a bit weak, a bit wet.
Total irrelevance.
That's all I can say, really.
Now, Philip Hammond,
I know very little about Philip Hammond. Is he Defence Secretary?
Philip Hammond. Is he DFID guy?
I don't know too much about Philip Hammond.
Oh, you're not allowed to tell me. Uh-oh.
I don't get good vibes from his name.
If he's the guy I think he is, international development guy, I don't think much of him really, because he's a Tory. Chuka Amuna.
Okay, seriously, who?
never heard of his name either.
I like him because he is in both Labour Friends of Palestine and Labour Friends of Israel group within Parliament, and there's only 2 politicians of all of them. So I think he's a man of strong morals and strong principles.
I don't know what that is, but it's a cool name, though. Nigel Farage. Oh.
I mean, what's he doing here? The racism, the sexism.
He's just.
I think it's an absolute
Total lunatic, racist, xenophobe.
Now you see, I said David Cameron's a joker. He's just a joker times 100.
Nick Clegg.
I quite like Nick Clegg.
Disillusioned and just. Yeah, dummy, really.
More suitable being Prime Minister than David Cameron.
I think that he has got the right ideas, but he doesn't have what we call the character, the oomph to be able to stand up and say, I fundamentally think this is wrong.
Weak sweetheart.
He will forever be remembered as David Cameron's whipping boy.